the last part of our graphing lesson. And what we've done with graphing, we made sure that we identify what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. You sometimes have to graph a line that looks like this, where y is not by itself. And your expectation when you graph a line like that is to get y alone. You have to get y by itself. Okay, and when we get y by itself, we learned that yesterday. To get y alone, the first thing you do is move your x term. If you have to. Sometimes you don't have to move your x term. And then the second thing that we did is divided by whatever's in front of y. Divide what's in front. I am taking into consideration that you know to plus a negative if you have to. And you definitely want to with things like this because you need to identify if y is negative, if you're dividing through by a negative, and it will help you make sure that you keep track of your signs. And then the last thing you do is graph. Okay, so let's say that I want to graph this first line. Well, I can't graph it right now because I have no idea what the y-intercept is, and I have no idea what the slope is. Remember, graphing a line, it has to look like this, y equals mx plus b. That's slope-intercept form. So that means I need to know what's my slope, and I need to know where does it cross the y-axis, or the y-intercept. So what I'm going to do is get y alone, and then I'm going to know my slope and y-intercept. I'm going to plus a negative. And then I'm going to do what it tells me to do. Move my x term first. So I'm going to minus 3x to both sides. And that cancels out the 3x. And then I have this negative 2y equals, notice I'm going to just kind of smush that x term in front on that other side. So it's going to be minus 3x plus 4. Do not write 4 minus 3x. That is not equivalent. It's slope-intercept form, which means the x term is before the y-intercept. And then the second thing I do is divide everything by what's in front of y. So I'm going to divide everything by a negative 2. And I get y equals, is that positive 3/2 or negative 3/2?
Positive.
It sure is positive because I have 2 negatives. So that turns it to positive. Y equals 3/2 x plus 4 over negative 2 is negative 2. I can graph it right from here. Some of you might want to just pull out your slope and y-intercept, and that is no problem as you're learning this. So my slope is what's in front of x, 3 over 2. My y-intercept is what's after the x term, negative 2. So I'm going to graph it. I'm going to make a dot at negative 2. That's my y-intercept. And then I'm going to use my slope, which is change in y over change in x. So I'm going to go up 3 over 2. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2, 1, 2. Up 3, over 2. Other way, down 3 to the left 2. And it should always remain in that aligned as a line. Okay. All right, so same thing. We're practicing the learning target that we did yesterday, getting y by itself. And then we're also practicing what we've been doing previously by graphing a line. You need to know the purpose of getting y alone is because you need to know what is the slope of the line and where does it cross the y-axis. That's why we always get y alone. You cannot tell me the slope unless y is by itself. Okay, graphing this next line. So I'm going to go ahead and plus a negative is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and solve for y because I can't graph this right now. Y is not by itself. So I'm going to move my x term first. I guess I didn't really need a plus and negative there, right? But, I mean, because it's my x term, so I'm just going to move that. But notice it's a negative 3x. To move a negative 3, you add 3. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And then you get 5y equals, put the 3x term first, that has to go before the other one, 3x plus a negative 5. And then I am going to divide by what's in front of y. And then I get y equals 3 over 5x plus a negative 1, right? Negative 5 divided by 5 is a negative 1. And I can graph it from here, or if you like to identify your slope is right before the x, 3 over 5, your y-int is what's after the x, negative 1. So I cross the y-axis, of course, which is the tall one, at negative 1, and then I go up 3 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way, down 3, 1, 2, and 3, to the left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is the line of that equation. Again, let me just summarize your learning objective. I'm going to give you equations of lines, and sometimes y isn't by itself. Your expectation is to make sure that y is by itself, and then you graph it. That's all I have to do today.